Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Heat. Today we're going to be talking about WWE Stomping Grounds. I know you're all super excited for this pay-per-view, much like I am. Now, let's be serious for a moment. This pay-per-view is called WWE Stomping Grounds. The title of the pay-per-view is very lame. You know, I can't say much about it. It's a silly name. I guess it's called Stomping Grounds because they're in Washington and they're out in the woods and where the pioneers were and all that good stuff. I don't really know. The name is what it is. This pay-per-view it's kind of like Backlash. I think this is what they replaced Backlash with, if I'm not mistaken. This is literally just a bunch of rematches from Money in the Bank and from WrestleMania and whatever, Super Showdown. Aside from, I believe, three matches, I think everything else is a rematch. Aside from Samoa Joe and Ricochet, Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus Heavy Machinery, I think everything else, and the New Day versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, I think everything else is a rematch. I don't quite recall. But let's get right to it. Let's not waste any time. The pay-per-view is going to take place Sunday, June 23rd at 7 o'clock. It's a 4-hour show like all of them are now. Maybe a 3.5-hour show. I was watching Great American Bash 1999, a little bit of it. That was a really terrible show. But it was still only like 2.5 hours long, and it just made me think like, damn, wrestling pay-per-views used to be so much easier to watch, even if they were bad. Now they're long and they're dragged out, and there's really no reason to have a 3.5-hour show. At least all the championships are on the card, I believe, even except for the Intercontinental title. As of this video, I don't know. Maybe Finn Balor will defend the title. I don't really know. I'm hoping he does. He should be on every pay-per-view, but I guess there's not enough room for everyone. Whatever. Oh, and the Raw Tag Team titles aren't on this one either. That's a little bit upsetting. You'd like to see the Revival out there. I'm sure they'll get a pre-show match or something. But let's talk about it. Let's get right to it. I assume what's going to be the pre-show, if there's only one match, I assume it's going to be the Cruiserweight Championship match. Tony Nese versus Tozawa versus Drew Gulak. And I gotta say real quick, while we're talking about the 205 division, Kenta is officially gone from WWE, formerly known as Hideo Itami in WWE. Now is back in New Japan Pro Wrestling, going by Kenta. Big loss for WWE, but I can't blame him. They were not doing a whole lot with him, and he's going to be used maybe not properly, but he'll be much better off in New Japan, working the G1 and at home where he knows and love, where he's known and he's loved over there. So big ups for him. I wish him the best. Yeah, we have Tony Nese, Akira Tozawa versus Drew Gulak in a triple threat match. I'm sure it'll be fine. I probably won't watch the pre-show. I'll try to catch this match if I can. And if I happen to be home at the time or not working, I'll try to catch it. If not, I'll just catch this match tomorrow or the day after, the Monday after. I'm not going to watch the entire pre-show. Those things are just so bad. I can't watch the wrestlers talk about this stuff, and Renee Young and whoever else does the panels now. I don't even know. I think it's Rosenberg or what's the other guy? Sam Roberts. I don't even know what's going on. I haven't watched the pre-shows in a very long time. The only one I watch is WrestleMania, and only a handful of minutes of it. Now this match, I'm sure it'll be great though. I don't really know who's gonna win. I would say Tony Nese. I don't really watch 205 Live. It's the only wrestling that I don't watch. It's tough. It's tough to watch that. I watch just about everything else that's out there. I watch Ring of Honor, NXT, New Japan, obviously Raw and SmackDown. I just can't find time to watch 205 Live. I really need to watch it. I don't know. Just me. That is what it is. I'm sure Tony Nese will keep his title. That'd be my guess. The match would be spectacular. You can put these three guys. They always get more freedom to do cooler stuff and have a faster-paced match than the regular matches do on the card. So I hope this one will be one of the three best matches of the night for sure. But then we have Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus Heavy Machinery for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. I'm super excited to see Heavy Machinery get a title shot. I like them. We just haven't seen a whole lot of them. You know, I want to see more of them. They're pretty funny. When they first came up, they were doing funny stuff. I don't remember when that was, like right before WrestleMania, like sometime in February, when EC3 and those guys came up. I really enjoyed some of the stuff they were doing, some of the wonky and weird stuff. I dig Daniel Bryan and Rowan as champions. I think this is a good spot for Daniel Bryan to be in, where he doesn't have to do a lot of wrestling. You know, they're obviously trying to preserve him and keep him healthy. He had a health scare after WrestleMania. He's absolutely excelled on the mic. This is the best Daniel Bryan that I have ever seen on the mic. And Rowan is just as good, I think. You know, Daniel Bryan is elevating him, making him feel more important, making him feel like a bigger deal. And I think the match itself will be fine. I don't see Heavy Machinery winning the titles yet. I think they can get more out of it, having Heavy Machinery chase the heels, and the chase will be a lot better for them. And I want to see them build up a little bit more, because they had the match on SmackDown with the YOLO champions, and they won the YOLO belts or whatever it was. And then they didn't really do a whole lot of last week's SmackDown, so I want to see a little bit more from them. But that's just me. I do think Bryan and Rowan are going to get the win, though. Like I said, maybe they'll run it back at the next pay-per-view, and then Heavy Machinery can get the belts here. But this is a good way to start with the revival of the SmackDown. No pun intended. The revival of the SmackDown Tag Team division and the Tag Team division as a whole in WWE, and that is by taking a known guy like Daniel Bryan, putting him in there with Rowan, and then helping them get over two new guys, a young team that's relatively unknown to the masses. I'm all the way behind it. Let's see, and then we have the New Day versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. This match seems very randomly thrown together. I don't know where this one came from. Like, I'm trying to remember. I know that Kevin Owens turned on Kofi Kingston a few weeks back, but I thought that was kind of dead. But there's just nothing else for these guys to do, and I think it's a good return match for Big E. He's been out of action for a little bit of time. Kevin Owens and Sami need a spot on the show in some way, shape, or form. Like, they have to get on the show. You know, you can't have these guys not on the show. So any way to get them on there is good. I'm not sure who's going to win this one. My guess would be Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, just to keep the heat going on them that they built. And you know, this felt just kind of thrown together. I really struggling to remember anything involving these four guys, and I just watched SmackDown, and I literally just cannot remember right now off the top of my head. But yeah, so next match we have the United States Champion Samoa Joe defending his title against Ricochet. I'm kind of excited for this one. I think they can have a pretty good match. I like Ricochet. I like Ricochet a lot. I've liked him for a while now, since I first saw him in Japan. Samoa Joe, I've been a fan of his for like 10 years plus, going back to his TNA days. I've been a fan of him. I think he's great. He's one of the most believable guys in the ring. His physical striking style is excellent, and I think that will counteract with Ricochet's high flying abilities pretty well. I think these two guys can tell a pretty good story in what will probably be an underrated match. You know, if they get enough time, I think it can be fun. There's no reason why it can't. The story is pretty basic here. Ricochet's thrown in because Rey Mysterio got hurt, so they had a five-way number one contenders match with Cesaro and Braun Strowman and a couple other guys to determine who would face Joe, and Ricochet won. So that's a pretty basic setup. I think Samoa Joe's going to win, keep the title for a little bit. I don't know what they're going to do with Ricochet. I'd like to see Ricochet get into the main event spot and get in there with maybe Seth Rollins. You know, I'd like to see that. Just mix it up with the top star. I would really love to see that. I think he and Rollins could tear the house down. And I don't think Ricochet is beloved enough to where turning him heel would kind of hurt him. So I think maybe they could have him turn heel and face Rollins. I think it would be great. The match that those two guys could have to be nothing short of excellent. So if they do Rollins versus Ricochet, you know, it would be an interesting one. Like I said, it would be excellent, but I don't know if they're going to get there. I don't know. Ricochet is probably a guy that's going to be in the middle, float in the middle of the card. I don't know if they're going to see him as a top guy yet, which is unfortunate. Whatever, it is what it is. But yeah, I got Samoa Joe beating Ricochet. I think that's a lock. They're going to keep Joe as a heel champion. But I could see them doing like a hot potato type deal where Ricochet wins it, then drops it to Joe, and then someone else wins it, then Ricochet wins it back. I could see that going on to keep the mid card title a little bit fresh by having it change hands. Maybe try to pop it, have it mean something. But whatever, I wouldn't be against it. Next match, Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. Whew. I didn't want to see it the first time at WrestleMania. I definitely don't want to see it again. Roman Reigns he looks uninterested. He doesn't look like he's really enjoying himself. And I don't think that's completely his fault. He's given just absolute garbage material all the time. Corny promos after corny promo. That's just me. But McIntyre, as bland and vanilla as they come, I don't see him as a top guy. I don't quite get the fixation with Drew McIntyre. Yeah, he's had a better run the second time around than he definitely did his first time, but still not quite on top of the world, not setting the world on fire like a lot of people thought he would. I think this is good. This is good for Roman though, to keep him away from the title and keep him away from people booing him. And I don't think Roman is a top guy. I never saw him as the top guy, as the guy. I don't think that WWE has a guy, quote unquote. If anyone is the guy, it's Becky Lynch. She's the man, and she is the most popular commodity. She's the biggest mainstream star right now out of the current crop of talent, I think. But Charlotte Flair's up there. Roman is definitely a big mainstream star, but he's just not doing it. He's not doing it right now. He looks bored. They're easing him into this. They're easing him back in, and I don't know about this match with him and McIntyre. You want him in there with you want Roman in there with someone that can make him look good. I don't know if McIntyre is quite that guy. Maybe a flip flop here, and if Ricochet face Roman would be good. But everything has to have a story. We can't just have a wrestling match for the sake of having a wrestling match on a wrestling show. There's always got to be some unnecessary, long-winded backstory behind everything. And I'm kind of tired of Shane McMahon being on top and Shane feuding with Roman and McIntyre as his crony. Shane is, I say it over and over again, Shane is just not good as the heel. He's getting better. He's not talking quite as much. Like he's not quite going the Triple H route and cutting the 25-minute promos anymore. But nevertheless, it's not my cup of tea. Not quite what I envision for these guys. But I'm sure there'll be some Shane McMahon interference. I'm sure there will be some Elias interference. There'll be some singing, guitar smashing, Roman yelling and oohing, or whatever it is that he does. Roman will get the win. Probably like a 5 to 6 minute match. I don't think it'll go much longer than that. Let's talk about the women. Let's get to it, man. Bayley versus Alexa Bliss for the SmackDown Women's title. I'm intrigued. They're kind of revisiting a 2-year-old feud. Bayley, after her not doing anything in 2018, and Alexa being hurt for a lot of for pretty much all of the second half of the year last year. This almost feels fresh. I like Bayley as a champion. I still think she's salvageable as a character. They kind of burned out her welcome when she first came up. They had her beat Charlotte and whatnot, and then she didn't get the title for a while. But I don't know if she was brought up at the right time. Like, you knew that she was a big star in NXT, but I think they could have held her there in NXT for a little bit longer. I think they kind of rushed her up. That's just me, but whatever. That stuff doesn't really matter. I do like Alexa Bliss as a heel. I think she's great on the mic. She's a great promo. Everything that Bayley's not on the mic, Alexa Bliss is. Bayley's presented as this fan, and I think if you're going to present a character as a fan on TV, why are they even on the show? Like, why is she a champion if they're still presenting her as like a fan and the every woman? I get the every woman part, I get it, but presenting her as a fan and someone that gets bubbly really easily and is like giddy, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. Why do you want your champion to to appear as someone in the audience. Like, why would you want that as a promotion? You know, I don't understand it. If I was booking it, I probably wouldn't go that route, but I'm not booking it, so I don't know. Alexa Bliss is great. I'm curious what she has in the ring. I'm curious about her health. There's a lot of question marks there. There's a lot of red flags. You know, but I think if she can go, and if Bayley can go. Bayley is one of the 5 best female workers in the WWE. These two are going to have a good match if they can. It might be short. I don't really know. I honestly don't know what to expect from this one. I don't know. It could be like a match that never gets started because Alexa jumps her before the bell rings and they don't actually have a match. You know, Alexa beats her up. They do an ambulance spot. I don't know. I'm just freestyling. I don't really know what's going to happen. Like I said, I don't know what to expect. I hope they blow me away because I like both girls. I'm a big fan of them. The internet was going crazy over Bayley and jeans. I don't know what the fixation is with that. I don't know. But the internet loves these two girls. I love them for their work. I think they're spectacular. Yes. While we're talking about my prediction for this one, Bayley's gonna take it. I don't see it going any other way. You know, we're gonna get a Bayley and Charlotte feud. That is yet to come. Charlotte's off TV. They're letting her. I guess the heart absence makes the heart grow fond. I guess that's where they're going. Charlotte seems to get the months of May and June off as she got last year too. So must be nice. But that's how the women's division is. Some girls are on TV, and then other girls sit out for 5 or 6 months. It's just the way things are with the women. They don't have a lot of spots for them. You know, you can only do like 2 to 3 women's matches on a card, so it's tough to spread out love for all of them and give them all TV time. It is what it is. You know, Bayley literally did nothing all of 2018, so it is what it is. We have Becky Lynch defending her Raw Women's title against Lacey Evans. The man, the biggest star in the company, the most in-demand star, Becky Lynch. And this is what people are going to look back on in 5 years when they think, wow, Becky Lynch beat Ronda Rousey for both the Raw and SmackDown Women's titles, and then her first program was with Lacey Evans. Like, who is that? Because I don't think Lacey Evans is going to be sticking around after this. I mean, you put Lacey Evans in there with the biggest star possible in the women's division, and she's not ready for it. Her very first feud, her very first like serious match is against Becky Lynch, the champion. Yes, that is a big-time spot, and it changed her life, I'm sure. And she deserves it. Everyone deserves to get paid. Everyone deserves to have a job. I'm not taking anything away from Lacey Evans, but that is an inevitable task. It's tough to throw upon anyone, because where do you go from here? You know, she's going to get beat by Becky. She was before she was even established on TV as a character. So there's not much you could do with Lacey Evans after this. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't foresee a lot in her future, unfortunately. She's just not ready. It's like putting a minor league batter against a major league pitcher. It's like having Jacob deGrom throw into a double-A player. Any baseball fans will get that reference. But it's just not fair for Lacey. And I like her. I think she's good. You know, Becky labeling her Charlotte 2.0 doesn't do anything for Lacey. You know, they're just making her look silly. The gimmick is silly. It's 1980s, 1970s. It's really warm. It's a really unnecessary gimmick. It's expired. It's irrelevant. It's in the past, and doesn't do a whole lot for her, and it doesn't do a lot for Becky. But this is just a placeholder feud. We'll get some more serious feuds down the line. Hopefully Sasha Banks returns. There's the rumors of a Stephanie McMahon feud for Becky in the future. So there's big things I'm sure are going to be planned for her. But she's going to beat Lacey Evans, and it's going to be easy. You know, she's going to have no trouble whatsoever beating Lacey Evans. I just... Man... Got nothing really else to say about it. Becky Lynch, I love her. One of my favorite female wrestler right now. She's great, man, and I'm glad that she's reached the heights that she has, because I don't know where the WWE would be right now if she wasn't carrying a big portion of the company. Because her boyfriend Seth Rollins ain't doing it, that's for sure. Let's get right to it. Let's talk about that. Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin for the Universal Championship, with a special guest referee that is yet to be announced. So we saw on Raw, Eric Young was going to be, not Eric Young, EC3 was going to be the special guest referee. He got beat up by the New Day. We've seen teases for other guys I can't quite recall off the top of my head. I don't really know who the hell is going to be the special guest referee. I think it'd be funny if they could get John Cena. That'd be kind of just funny. I don't know why it would be funny, but seeing him as a referee would be hilarious. I don't know. Don't know who it's going to be. It literally could be anyone at this point. I don't even have a guess. R-Truth would be funny. Put him out there. Find a way to get R-Truth on this pay-per-view. I'm sure we'll see plenty of the 24/7 title. If you guys haven't actually seen the skit that they did at Drake Maverick's wedding, his wife is a trooper. You know, she's a wrestler too. That was an awesome skit. R-Truth pinned Drake Maverick to win the title at his own wedding. That was awesome. I don't know if I think that was his real wedding. I don't really know. Not privy to it. But yeah, back to the match though. Jesus. Whew. Baron Corbin, he got the night off from Chili's. He looks like a Chili's host. If anyone else sees that, or if I'm completely off, let me know. I think he looks like someone that should be serving cocktails and appetizers. But that's just me. I love Seth Rollins. I'm a big Seth Rollins guy. He's my favorite wrestler maybe in WWE. He's my favorite wrestler in the last decade at least. Him and Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, top 3 for my WWE wrestlers. Kenny Omega's in that mix too. Love Kenny Omega for outside of WWE. He's definitely my favorite. Seth Rollins doesn't do it for me. And I wanted Seth Rollins to be the guy. I wanted him to be the face of Raw. But that was 4 years ago when he first won the title. And he was champion, but it still felt like it was Roman's show. You know, that was the time to do this with Rollins. To tell good stories with him, to have him be the lead sympathetic babyface. That was the time. I think it's a little too late. Honestly, I think that's just what it is. You know, it took him a while to find his footing as a babyface, and I think that hurt him too. But another thing about it is everyone knows that he wouldn't be in this spot if Roman didn't get sick, and that sucks to say. But I think it's true. I honestly do not think Seth Rollins would be in this spot as the number one babyface, challenging for the title at WrestleMania, beating Brock. I just don't think he would be there. You know, and it's unfortunate. I guess that's part of it because I see through the bullshit. You know, but this match should be okay. Baron Corbin challenging Rollins it's silly, it's comical. You know, Baron Corbin is not championship material, not main event material. He's a great heel. He has legitimate heat. He has the most heat as a heel that anyone on this card does. I mean, the only guy I can think of is Kevin Owens that comes close. You know, Dolph Ziggler has some good heat, but Dolph Ziggler don't have heat like Baron Corbin does. Rollins will get the win. There's going to be some shenanigans. I'm sure the special guest referee will be a heel, someone that's on Baron Corbin's side. Maybe Elias. Probably Elias. I don't know. I think they did that spot already where they said Elias couldn't be. I don't quite remember, but that'd be my guess. If Elias can be the special guest referee, it'll probably be him. He'll be out there. Shane will be out there. McIntyre, I'm sure, will be out there. Same crop of guys. Meanwhile, you've got all this great talent like Bobby Roode, Eric Young, and etc. sitting on the bench, but you have multiple guys doing multiple positions, doing multiple feuds at one time. When you have all this fantastic talent, like what's wrong with a Bobby Roode Seth Rollins Universal Title match? You could dust him off like you dusted off Dolph Ziggler and brought him out of nowhere. I don't know why you can't do the same thing with Bobby Roode. I'm a big Bobby Roode advocate. WWE, put Bobby Roode on TV and get him out of the 24/7 title picture. Do something with him, man. Bobby Roode is one of the best wrestlers in the world, and he's wasting away on the bench. It's unfortunate. But whatever. What can we do? Let's get to the main event. Let's talk about it. Seth Rollins is going to beat Baron Corbin. It is what it is. Let's talk about it. What I think should be the main event. Kofi Kingston defending his title against Dolph Ziggler in a steel cage match. Good old-fashioned steel cage match. We got the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, so we can't do those outside of that pay-per-view, I guess. Only at WrestleMania if your name is The Undertaker and Shane McMahon. So, since neither of these guys are Undertaker or Shane McMahon, we get a freaking cage match. I think they're outdated, but it's different, and different is good at this point. Dolph Ziggler still cutting the same promo that he was cutting leading up to Super Showdown, and he got screwed, so I guess he has a right to keep saying the same things, that it should have been him and blah blah blah. Since he got screwed with Xavier Woods helping Kofi get the win, Ziggler's been complaining, saying that Kofi can't do it on his own. Kofi can only win when he has a New Day holding his hand and helping him. And I think it's good. I think it's good to paint Kofi as the ultimate underdog, and then it means that much more when he gets the win, because Ziggler ain't staying around, and WWE has never bought into Ziggler and never pushed him and never gave him a formidable run as champion. So there's some truth when he says, "Oh, that should have been me," because Ziggler was super over for a long time, but this was before they were doing more risky things and taking more chances. Kofi was a guy seen as a mid-carder, much like Ziggler. Kofi all of a sudden gets some fanfare. They put the belt on him. Dolph Ziggler was seen as a mid-carder. He got a lot of fanfare. They didn't put the belt on him. They didn't give him a formidable run. They were too in love with Roman Reigns and John Cena and Randy Orton, etc. But, it's unfortunate that Ziggler never got his run, and I think he, with the ball, would do an absolutely fantastic job. I'm a big Dolph Ziggler fan. I've always been a fan of his. And this match is going to be great. There's no reason why this match won't be great. These two guys have fantastic chemistry. They're phenomenal in the ring. Dolph Ziggler is one of the best athletes I've ever seen in the wrestling ring. And Kofi Kingston is not too shabby himself as an athlete. He's extremely athletic too. These guys are both friends. They're going to do some creative stuff with the cage. Going to be jumping off the cages, I'm sure. We're going to see a trust fall from Kofi. It's going to be freaking dangerous if he does do it. I'm sure Kofi will keep his belt in clean fashion, and this match here will help cement Kofi as a champion, and then we'll see where he goes next from here. I don't know what's next. I mean, you've got a interesting prospect, maybe a Sami Zayn match or a Kevin Owens match. Daniel Bryan's still looming, he's still around. There's a lot of ways they could go with him. There's always Finn Balor, Andrade. There's tons of directions they can go with Kofi. I'm intrigued to see which way they go. Overall, I'm not too stoked for this pay-per-view, like I said in the intro. But what can we do? We gotta, as fans, we have to try to find things that we like, or we shouldn't be watching it, right? And I do like some things. I like some of these matches, even though they're a bunch of rematches. I like some of them, and if I had to predict the best match on the show, I think it's gonna be Kofi and Dolph. I really do, and then the second best match is probably gonna be the 205 match, or Samoa Joe and Ricochet. But I wouldn't be surprised if either of those three matches steal the show. Would you be surprised? But yeah, so if you enjoyed this review, please leave a comment on the video, like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. I've been doing these videos a lot and trying to find growth any way I can. So if you see this and you like it, and you think my wrestling content is good, or my knowledge is good, or you think I'm stupid, or you think you hate the way I do things, let me know. Give me some feedback. I really appreciate any and all feedback. So yeah, thank you guys all for watching this.